Y'all know what time it is. Time for the niche deep dive. Let's talk about HVAC. Let me go ahead and sit down. Let me plant my bosom right here in the seat. Let's talk about HVAC. I want to talk about this niche. This is a niche that everyone asks about. Everyone's like, what about that one? Because it's a popular home service. I was the same way. I had my questions, I had my reservations, and the only way to know was to test it. So let me go ahead and tell you about my experience with HVAC, with heating and air companies. Okay, so for me to tell this story, for me to share my experience, we need to do a little jog back to 2019. And at this time, guys, I'm telling you, if there's a strategy that comes to my mind, I test it out. If there's an idea that comes to my mind, I usually go for it, and I go for it a little bit too hard. One of my ideas was, what would it look like if once a month or once a quarter, I cold called and I made a list. By the way, this is before I was doing flat rate or flat fee deals. This is before I was, only doing rank and rent. I was looking for all kinds of stuff. I was doing SEO. I was trying to do pay per lead. I was still taking on all these different services, right? One of the reasons I wasn't successful. But my idea was, what if we made a list of businesses, and this is the one thing I did do right, is I tried to narrow it down to home service businesses, okay? But my idea was like, what if I just picked a spot on the map, a place where I've had good luck, and I called in advance, let's say a week before, and I made a list of business owners that were not ranking on page 1 of Google. And I called these business owners and I set up a in-person meeting. I let them know I was gonna be in town anyway, which truly I was doing it for them, but I didn't mention that part. And what if I just kind of did like a blitz? Like I went in and I went there for 3 days and I met with 5, 10 business owners and sales pitch after sales pitch after sales pitch. This is my idea, right? And I was like, well, the in-person thing might be the key. Maybe that's why I'm not successful. Keep in mind, this is before the whole pandemic, so I'm still in the door-to-door knocking mode, and I'm like, man, I had so much success. Anyway, I thought I might be onto something. And so that is what we did in 2019. I took a bunch of trips to the Carolinas, okay? And I want to tell you about a specific trip that I took. This would have been June of 2019. This was my second trip to North Carolina specifically, and we flew into Charlotte, and one of the companies that we had talked to was an HVAC company, okay? And this company was not ranked, and the reason they weren't ranked is because they were in another city. It's a really good company. They had a nice facility. They did good business. You could just tell. They were just like those good old boys that did good business, probably had their mother-in-law that did the books. Like, it just felt like a good environment. But I had called them about a different city, okay? In fact, let me think if I can even remember exactly what it was. I think they were based in Greensboro, but I had called them about Winston-Salem, okay, North Carolina. I think that's exactly what it was. Anyway, I called them. They were like, yeah, we're interested. And I told them I could get them leads, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So we fly out there, and I had a couple of different meetings, and I end up meeting with this company. And we sit down, and it was, kind of what you would expect when you're pitching a bigger company. We got the boardroom / conference table. They're like, hey, you can project up onto the wall. And I'm just like, yo, this is going to be, I'm going to have to freaking make this look more legit than it is, because I didn't know we were going to be projecting onto the wall. So we got my computer all lined up. We pulled up SEMrush, and I'm just pulling stuff out. Like, luckily I had a pretty good idea of my flow. Anyway, I go through the pitch, and I pitched them lead gen, okay? I pitched them lead gen, and it's funny about me thinking about this story is I actually pitched them on a flat fee deal. And it wasn't because I was like, oh, I got to do flat fee and flat fee only. It's because I didn't know how HVAC was going to perform. And I had lost my shorts too many times with pay per lead, and I also didn't know how to price it. This is my first time into the niche. So I went in and I said, look, it's going to be $1,000 per month. Let's run this for 6 months. I did my regular pitch that I do now, But I mean, I missed a ton of stuff. I didn't check the cost per click. I didn't properly look at the competition, and I took the deal. I presented the deal, and much to my surprise, they were like, "Yeah, let's do it. Cut me a check." Actually, they did not cut me a check, but they did sign the agreement. We whipped up the agreement right there. I sent it to them. They signed it. Boom, boom, boom. I sent them a credit card authorization. I think I ran the payment before I even got on the plane to come home. I was pumped. I was like, boom, I got a deal. I think I got one or two other deals. Well, I think it was SEO though. Got a couple deals, and I'm flying home like, dude, we're doing this. We're living the dream. We're flying out. We're meeting with people, you know, and it really, if you calculate it between flight costs and hotel costs and food costs and all this different stuff, I did not make money. However, at the time, I thought it was pretty cool. So do not do this. It's not worth your time. You don't need to do it. You can do it on Zoom. In fact, I prefer Zoom. And this is a little side note. If I have somebody in my hometown that wants leads or that I'm pitching on leads, I will specifically set up a Zoom instead of an in-person, okay? I'll usually go drop by the office, shake their hand, whatever, get that face-to-face and a face to the name, but I will not do a sales pitch in person because it's so much more effective on the screen. You can control the whole process. You have their undivided attention. You're not eating, you know, lunch and the waiter and the waitress and the whole thing. So I prefer the Zoom, okay? Anyway, all that's to say, I did an HVAC deal in Winston-Salem, okay? Built the site, all that, okay? Not a good niche, okay? Not a good niche. We did everything the same as we do with concrete. We did everything the same we do with towing. We did everything the same we do with tree service. And I'm telling you guys, oh my goodness, I spent so much money getting leads, and we did get a couple leads, but the leads that we did get, here's the problem with the niche, okay? And I think I have intuitively, I'm gonna tell you my answer of why I think this is, but the leads we did get were just tire kicking, looky-loo, price shopping, you know who, okay? That rhymed. And I don't think a single one of our leads converted. Okay, number one, I don't think, and this is not a company that sucked, man. This is a company that had their stuff dialed. They would call the leads, they would get a hold of the leads, but I don't think they closed one single deal. Okay, so that's not good. And I mean, before the contract even came up, I don't even think we finished the contract. I think eventually I just hit them up and said, hey, like, I know you're not going to renew. I'm not going to ask you to renew. It was kind of like this, like, unspoken, like, it was a good test, but we're not doing it, right? But I thought about that a lot, and I thought about that, and I'm like, why didn't that work? Why didn't that work? Because they were really easy to work with. I mean, I really thought it would work. And here's my opinion on it, okay? If your AC is out, right? I've had my AC out a couple times in the summer, and I live in a place where it's 100+ degrees in the summer. Excuse me. And I'll tell you what, I am not interested in anything other than getting that fixed, okay? I need someone out now. Now. And the first person that answers the phone, I'm hiring, okay? Straight up. That's what happened to me twice. 2 times I hired the first person that could get out there because what happened is I called one of these companies, and they're like, yeah, we're booked out for a couple days. I'm like, I don't have a couple days. So one of the problems I think is because it's such a I need it right now type of a service for the bigger jobs, right? I think that people literally just go with the first person. Now that could be good, but it ends up being bad more than it's good because a lot of the times the businesses that we're working with do not answer the phone. Now, in the case of my client, they answered the phone all right. They just were too booked out. And I'm talking like a day or two, and people weren't having it. People were not interested in waiting a day or two. So because of that, it just none of the leads ever panned out, okay? That's one of the things. The other assumption that I have is I believe that's a service because changeouts, if you guys know what that is, where you literally go and change out the entire thing, that is a very lucrative service. That is the holy grail of HVAC. Talking to my friends that have companies, talking to past clients, talking to these guys, changeouts are where the game's at. And so that's what they want is change outs. They'll do the maintenance plans, they'll do this, they'll do that, but it's all ultimately trying to lead to change outs, okay? And so the game is because that's the thing everyone wants, everyone's trying to rank for that. Everyone's trying to bid for that. So it's you have this really good service, which is change outs, really good margins, everybody wants them, and then everything else is You know what I mean? Like it's not that exciting. It would be the equivalent of my business or your business if you have a lead gen company, you're going to start one. You got the lead gen, and then it's like, oh, so here's a social media client. Like if you were doing a campaign and the first one came in, it was lead gen. You want all the lead gen clients, those flat fee lead gen. But like the social media, it's like, I don't know if I want it. Or the email campaign, I don't know if I want it. Or the SEO, I don't know if I want it. That's how it felt to me. Except for SEO, we actually make money, whereas like all their other stuff, it's kind of like just a waste of time. So for those two reasons, what I think happens is because changeouts are so lucrative, it attracts big money. And if you go, whatever you're at right now, type in HVAC or AC repair or AC changeout or whatever replacement near me or whatever city you're in with that city. And you're going to see some big companies in your space that are paying for these ads. Big companies that are paying for marketing. Big companies that are paying for billboards and have wrapped vehicles. And so I think, this is again my gut. My gut's telling me that because it's those changeouts are so valuable and these companies make a lot of money, that because of that, it becomes branded. Now we get into the branding piece. And now this niche that shouldn't be a branded niche, because companies are willing to spend the money, it does become branded. People know the HVAC companies. I can think of 3 HVAC companies right now in my hometown, and it's kind of unique because I can't name 3 concrete companies, and I work with concrete companies. Okay, well, actually, I probably could think of 3. Now that I'm saying that, I don't want to lie to you guys. I probably could think of 3, but like I'm in the space. Anyway, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and again, this is just my review, my rating. You're never going to catch me building another HVAC site with this model again. Now, if I had a brother, I had a dad, or I had ownership in a business and I was able to use their name and generate leads from a separate website and didn't have to run the risk of them quitting on me and me having nothing, that may be different. Actually, that would be different. But the business model is not that. The business model is to build a generic site that is local to the city you're in or the city you're targeting with the service, and to have it so that you can sell leads to any company and not just one. So for those reasons, I'm out. I'll never build another HVAC site. Not a niche I would recommend. Again, you're free to try it. I've lost the money, so you don't have to, but don't trust me. Go try it.